Hi, this is Ron Kelly, Public Information Officer for Walton County. The Walton County Board of County Commissioners made it clear that sprawling data centers designed to meet the demands of AI technology are not welcome in Walton County. During the May meeting of the board, at the urging of District 2 Commissioner Danny Glidewell, County Attorney Clay Atkinson was directed to craft an ordinance that prohibits data centers as soon as possible, especially in light of Senate Bill 484, which goes into effect July 1st. Attorney Atkinson told commissioners, "You have an actual permanent solution banning data centers. That's what you asked for, that's what I've delivered. I've placed this under your resource protection standards. I would note that it is consistent with the Planning Department's view of the Comprehensive Plan and Land Development Code. There's no specific part of the Land Development Code that expressly allows or disallows data centers right now," he added. "So what we've done, we consider it a clarification, an interpretation of your existing code. So this is not a new, more restrictive interpretation that would run afoul of Senate Bill 180. Atkinson detailed the rigorous protections he built into the emergency ordinance to strengthen it and make it difficult to alter or change. The ordinance would require adoption by a supermajority vote by the board, and they should direct staff to bring it back along with any additional refinements that are consistent with the guidance they received from the state of Florida after July 1st. Commissioner Glidewell said, "Just to make sure, this is a complete permanent ban on data centers, prohibited totally." Atkinson confirmed that this ordinance represents a total ban. Commissioner Glidewell motioned to approve the ordinance on an emergency basis, and the board voted in favor unanimously, striking Section 4 of the county-owned and operated development exempted, and directed staff to bring back any refinements to the ordinance after July 1st, 2026. Also on the agenda, commissioners recognized the purchasing department within the Office of Management and Budget for their work, resulting in Walton County being named a 2026 OpenGov High Performance Government Award winner. This came about after achieving more than 20% cost savings in key bids through increased vendor participation and streamlined procurement operation. Beach Operations Director Josh Urban gave a brief update regarding the 38 Cats Spay and Neuter Voucher Initiative. No formal action was taken. Next, Holly Holt, Florida Department of Health, introduced a number of items needing BCC approval, including a request to approve a resolution in observance of Revive Awareness Day, which was approved. Ms. Holt also gave an update regarding the Naxalone Rescue Box project and sought approval to place boxes at 5 additional parks: 4 Mile Creek Landing, Pilcher Park Boat Ramp, Helen McCall Park, Valley View Community Center Park, and Mossy Head Park. This was approved. Holt then presented a PowerPoint talk on Walton County Overdose Prevention Task Force activities and discussed the 2026-27 Overdose Prevention Grants Program funding recommendations for Walton County. She asked the BCC to accept the recommendations of the Overdose Prevention Task Force Application Review Committee and move forward with funding for the fiscal year 2027 program, which was approved. Ms. Holt finished her presentations by asking the commissioners to authorize Board Chairman Brad Drake to sign a letter of support for Florida's Rural Health Transformation Program funding, which was approved. County Administrator Brian Kellenberger requested approval for Chairman Drake to sign a contract with Becker and Poliakov, PA, for federal lobbying services. This was approved. Deputy Administrator Mike Thornton updated the BCC regarding Walton County entrance signs that could be placed on major highways leading into the county and discussed preliminary cost estimates. There was discussion about whether to utilize tourism development funds to purchase the gateway signs for state highways, including US 331 and US 98, where previous signs had been placed. There was also discussion about signs on Highway 20 and Highway 83, and whether some signs could be scaled down in size as well as cost. Ultimately, the board decided to ask the TDC to look at the issue at their next meeting and send back recommendations for Tourism Director Matt Algren to discuss with the commissioners. Environmental Services Director Billy McKee sought direction from the board regarding providing solid waste collection service for volunteer fire departments and community centers. Following discussion, it was decided that the county would provide service for one cart and allow Administrator Kellenberger the authority to add an additional cart if needed. These would be provided to Liberty and Argyle volunteer fire departments and 6 community centers. Director McKee will reach out to Waste Management for assistance in covering the costs. Human Resources Director Terry Franksman asked the commissioners to approve the updated Human Resource Policy 6.3 regarding tuition reimbursement for education programs. Following discussion, Director Franksman was directed to meet with commissioners individually and bring the resulting policy back to the BCC at the next meeting. Public Works Deputy Director Scott Caraway requested approval to award a bid for gasoline and diesel fuel supply services to Rediff Oil and Fuel, LLC, and to authorize the BCC chairman to sign the contract. This was approved. Caraway also requested the board approve a contract with Liquidity Services Operations, doing business as Gov Deals, for online auction services, and it was also approved. Chief Financial Officer Melissa Thomason sought approval to authorize Chairman Drake to sign a resolution amending the fiscal year 2026 budget in the Fine and Forfeiture Fund due to unanticipated revenues in the amount of $344,882.71. This was approved. J.J. Harris, the new president and CEO of the Walton County Economic Development Alliance, gave the BCC an update on the agency and its activities and previewed a future funding request. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, but it's going to be a partnership that's going to be beneficial, he said. We have to match the labor demands with the companies that are hiring. It's important to have this public-private partnership. 1/3 of our board are private entities that have come together. We want to expand our workforce participation, and we want to expand our investors, and we want it to represent the county. We're only going to do that through a successful partnership with you. Harris's report was approved. Commissioners held a second reading request to consider amending Ordinance 2019-01, thereby amending the Walton County Land Development Code's Inlet Beach Neighborhood Plan to provide for clarification and correction as to the inclusion of certain properties north of US Highway 98 and to those land use districts where limited lodging is allowed and prohibited. This was approved. District 1 Commissioner Dan Curry requested an update on the county's beach renourishment efforts to include any updated info from the Army Corps of Engineers. Environmental Manager Melinda Gates explained that the county does have a cooperative agreement with the Army Corps, and she receives updates about every 2 weeks. Of course, she said, it is government, so it does not move quickly. With that being said, over the past year, the Army Corps has entered into a contract with Dietz Engineering and Surveying, and that particular group went out and did surveys along the beach in November 2025 and just finished up with their topography surveys in April of this year. They've also finished their hydro surveys, which are all waterside surveys, in May. Ms. Gates said the Army Corps would take all that data and turn it into a revised design plan. She said they have also collected beach sand samples to confirm what kind of sand we have so that as they look at the borrow sites, they make sure it is compatible. Next will come property appraisals and beach renourishment implementation costs, which will all go into an economic analysis required for any federally funded project. She said they've started on the work of revising all of the design, so the process is going to be fairly lengthy. She said likely the fall of 2027, with a final design expected around May 2028. Again, it doesn't move quickly, she said, but we are moving. District 4 Commissioner Donna Johns asked about efforts to duplicate the sand that currently exists on Walton County beaches. Gates explained that the Army Corps is looking 3 miles out into the Gulf as a possible borrow site, similar to recent efforts by Bay County officials. Commissioner Curry then asked for an update on the rescue tube program approved earlier this year. Beach Operations Director Josh Irvin explained that the program is continuing and more tubes will be delivered, which Beach Operations will install in locations where there are no lifeguard tower sites. Irvin explained that they are in the process of obtaining 10 additional tubes, which should be delivered in a week or less and installed before the July 4th weekend. Irvin was directed by Commissioner Curry to reach out to program advocate Melissa Ward of the Rotary Club regarding funding needs. Irvin said he would reach out to Ms. Ward and ask her to contact Commissioner Curry directly. Commissioner Curry discussed allowable uses for Commissioner discretionary funds relating to emergency situations. Following a lengthy discussion, direction was given to CFO Thomason and County Attorney Atkinson to look for line item funding in the current budget to create an account to supplement emergency situations that could be used at the Emergency Management Director's discretion with approval of the county administrator. This would be separate from all Commissioner discretionary fund accounts. That approach was approved. Commissioner Curry also discussed the tracker report that details progress on Commissioner initiatives and directives. He suggested an abbreviated report be placed on the county website for the public. County Administrator Kellenberger agreed that could be implemented. Next, Commissioner Curry stated that the next mental health town hall meeting will be held at the South Walton Coastal Branch Library on June 13th from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. He said it's a forum that allows the Walton County Sheriff's Office and other agencies to share information on mental health issues like suicide prevention, depression, and other issues. With the property tax amendment looming over local government, Commissioner Curry suggested a hiring freeze across the board. He made a motion to that effect, but it failed for lack of second. Commissioner Danny Glidewell discussed updating the Paxton City water system. The next step in proceeding is for Mayor Smith and Mr. Kellenberger to get together and negotiate a Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, that would outline the cost that's needed, what our responsibilities are as far as engineering and public works, and what Paxton's responsibilities will be, and who will handle the liability if something goes wrong, he said. Paxton Mayor Donna Smith said Yates Utilities will be performing the work on our side, and we would take that responsibility. Administrator Kellenberger said he, Mayor Smith, and Mr. Yates would negotiate a draft for an interlocal agreement and bring it back to the BCC for consideration. Commissioner Glidewell requested approval to utilize District 2 discretionary funds to purchase PA sound equipment for the Glendale and Darlington community centers in an amount not to exceed $5,000. The request was approved. Commissioner Glidewell then led discussion on purchasing handheld GPS units for beach ambassadors to reduce friction between the beachgoers and private beach owners. The units could be expensive, but Code Compliance Director Tony Corman was given authority to get quotes on 4 units and bring that information back for BCC consideration. Commissioner Glidewell's last item was a request for approval to have staff draft an ordinance establishing guidance, standards, and commitments for the Board of County Commissioners regarding their interactions with and treatment of Walton County employees. Commissioner Curry disagreed and said employees have several avenues for airing grievances with individual employees, including lawsuits. Attorney Atkinson said that pursuant to county ordinances, the administrator and human resources director will work together to draft an ordinance for commissioner consideration. The next meeting of the Walton County Board of County Commissioners will be held Tuesday at 1 p.m. at the South Walton Courthouse Annex, just off US 331 South.